Forward focus ignitions are a huge moneymaker for locksmiths. Those sidebar ignitions have been failing like crazy. When they first started failing, we would get the parts from Ford, put in another lock from Ford, it had the sidebar, and it would fail again, and we were stuck under warranty fixing the problem. The Strattec kit, this is a 707-592. This kit is fantastic. It's everything you need inside the kit. It doesn't have the sidebar, so the lock is not going to fail because of a sidebar malfunction. Randy's going to explain in the following segment here step-by-step instructions on how to rekey the Strattec ignition replacement lock so it fits perfectly with the client's key. The client can still use one key that will fit the whole car, work the doors, work the ignition, and start the car.
The number one failing lock on the market today is the Ford Focus. It runs from about the year 2000 to the year 2004. I have had later ones. This particular lock is a good example of what fails on the Ford Focus. The sidebar is what fails. This is a lock that we removed last week. And if you put the key in, you'll notice in here that the cylinder drops a bit, but it doesn't drop, or the sidebar drops a bit, but it doesn't drop nearly enough to turn in the cylinder. So you can put it in, you can try and turn it all you want, it's not going to move. The replacement kit for that is, we use a Strattec kit. Part number is 707-592. It eliminates the sidebar and eliminates all problems to do with this failure here on the sidebar. This kit is very easy to repin, and you can have a working lock in about 10 minutes. Strattec builds a nice lock. They put everything you'll need to do the job in here. The plug goes into the cylinder. They give you all the depths of the wafers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And they give you all the springs. The nice thing about Strattec is they do give you extra springs because inevitably you're going to drop 1 or 2 of them during the process. This is the key we're going to be using for the repinning. You can pretty much eyeball the key and tell the depths on the key. The cylinder itself, with Fords of this era, you're looking at 1 to 6 in the door locks. Sorry, I should start that again. You're looking at 6 wafers in the doors, and you're looking at 7 wafers in the ignition. The key is an 8 cut, looking from bow to tip. You've got 8 cuts in it. The ignition lock cylinder for this vehicle runs from 2 to 8. So it eliminates number 1. So where we'll start is we'll take the springs out, put them all on the table there. The springs always end up in little bundles, but you can easily separate them. Now, I know the first cut in here is a 2, the next one is a 4. So you're going to put a spring in the first position. You're going to open up your kit with number 4. Take out a wafer. You're going to plug it in here, and it'll snap into place by pushing it down. When you put the key in, you can notice that it clears so that you have nothing above the shear line. Pull it out, and this is what's going to stop it from turning. Now, if you take another key that doesn't have a 4 in the next position, and this, you can see how it sticks up and the cylinder won't turn. And the cylinder will turn. So your first wafer is in. If you look at the key, you've got a 4 there. Your next cut, by reading it, is a 2. So just take another spring. Pop it into the other side and get your next wafer, number 2, and pop your number 2 wafer in there. I tend to check as I'm going just to make sure that we're clearing all the way along. Based on the key, we know the next cut is a 4. Just so you can see the difference, I'm going to stick a 1 in there, and you can see just what happens when the wafers are out. So we stick a number 1 in there, stick the key in, and you can see how far up that number 1 sticks. So that will never turn in the cylinder. Okay, so let's take that out. And let's get back to the 4 we need. Again, we clear, go on to the next one, drop the spring in. Now, looking at the key again, we're at another number 2. If you look at the 2, 4, 2, 4, 4, 2. If you look at the key very closely, you can see that these 2s are the same height, so you'll learn to read the keys in a heck of a hurry. Next spring. Again, looking at the key, we know that's a number 2 right there. Next cut in is a little deeper, it's a number 3. So we'll get a number 3. Pin that. Check it again. We know we've cleared. And we're going to go under our last wafer here. And if you look at the key, we're going to figure that's a number 5 because it's the deepest cut. When you go along here, you can see just how deep that cut is. We plug in the number 5, and we've cleared our shear line on all of the wafers. Now, you can do a partial test if you just take your key and your lock and you just kind of slip it in backwards. You can just see how nice and easy it turns in there. It won't go in all the way, you won't get the last wafer in, but it's just a good test to see how it works. So as you can see, although it is an 8-cut key, there are only 7 wafers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the ignition. So there's cuts 2 to 7 for the ignition. Now, to put the lock together, basically you're lining up this guide with this slot here. You're going to put it in and you're going to feed the wafers one at a time. And you'll hit a point where it won't go any further until you turn it, because there's a slot in the lock that you need to line up before it'll go any further. And then the lock will go together like that. Now once you turn this, it'll lock into place and that lock cylinder is not going to come back out. Last part of the process is to put the snap ring on to the end of the cylinder and install it in the vehicle.
In conclusion, Randy just gave a great step-by-step instructions on how to rekey the Strattec ignition so the customer's key will still work the ignition. This stops you from having to program a new transponder key. The customer can still have one key, fit the door, fit the ignition, and start the car. It's a pretty simple remove and replace, put in this new Strattec ignition. It's a fantastic product. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Subscribe to my channel. Also, visit my website and you can see what online locksmith training I have for beginners, intermediate, and advanced, as well as my covert methods of entry and my non-destructive methods of entry.